And now I'd like to introduce you to Ellie Cole and ask her to join me on the stage for a personal and up-close chat with Ellie Cole, who's a Paralympian world champion, 4 times bronze medalist, 5 times silver medalist, 6 times gold medalist, representing...
Thank you.
And these are the real deal. These are real. Can one of my staff walk around with them?
Yeah, definitely.
Does someone want to come up and take these and wander around with them? While she's coming up, she represents Australia at Beijing, London, and the Rio Games, and we're going to discuss passion. I think we'll stop there. Mindset, change management, resilience, and dedication. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you Ellie Cole. Oh. Okay, Ellie, I'm just going to do a bit of a chitty chat thing here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Right, I'm going to try my best. Okay. Okay, can you give me a little background on to what happened with your leg and also when you first started swimming?
Yeah, hi guys, how are we? My name's Ellie Cole, I'm an Australian Paralympian. I'm actually a swimmer, but I've dabbled in a little bit of wheelchair basketball as well, which I strongly encourage you all to try because nothing's more fun than flipping somebody out of a wheelchair. So when I was actually 2, I was diagnosed with a form of cancer in my right leg. And the doctors thought that I was born with it. My parents didn't realize something was wrong until I guess I was around about the age of 2. And they noticed that my legs were different sizes. And obviously that's the case now, but I've got a good reason now. And I had a good reason back then too. I went through, I guess, my cancer journey at a very young age. Tried chemo for a year and it didn't work. The only thing that I really got out of chemo was losing all the hair on my body, which I'm sure as a 24-year-old I would have liked not having to shave for, a year or so. But back then, I just was so different to all the other kids that I grew up with that I didn't really understand what was going on, and luckily I had the support of my family. So after a year of unsuccessful chemotherapy, my parents had to amputate my leg, which has actually been a lot of fun. I've had a very interesting life, as I'm sure you can see from up there. And yeah, I got into swimming 8 weeks later for rehabilitation and have basically stayed in the pool since then.
So it was rehabilitation. I'm just a little worried.
I'm not going to fall off, it's okay.
Yeah, I know. I've got children. I'm interested that, so you just did swimming for rehabilitation, so there was no thought at that time for becoming a famous swimmer or anything like that?
No, I've never really set out to become a Paralympic champion. When I was a young kid, I guess I always had started from behind a little bit. And I have a twin sister who really encouraged me to give everything a good shot. And when I started swimming lessons, obviously I was much slower than the other kids, especially in kicking, which it's pretty self-explanatory. It's when you just kick with a kickboard. And I guess I've been very competitive. Like I said, I have a twin and an older brother, and I just wanted to keep up with the other kids, so I trained really, really hard for years and years, and eventually became one of the best kickers in the whole squad, despite having only just one leg, and I think that's where my successes come from. And even now, I don't sit back and go, oh, I love how I'm a Paralympic champion. It's never really been a big dream of mine. It's just, I always like to improve myself, and it's led me to that.
Excellent. And so how do you get your mindset right to become an elite athlete? I mean, how much work do you have to do for this? Do you have to get up a lot early in the morning, or what do you have to do?
4 a.m. starts can be pretty brutal. But it's interesting when you mention mindset, because obviously when you think of an athlete, you think of their athletic ability, but you don't really think of how their mind is going. And we really saw at the Rio Olympics, I was obviously glued to the swimming, but watching the Rio Olympians compete, and I think the thing that they really struggled with the most was their mindset. And, it's funny, I've been a Paralympic champion for years and years, and I've been a world champion for years. But going into Rio, I was just explaining to some people here today, it was really tough, the mindset. And, I've been thinking about what went wrong in terms of how I approached the races mentally. And I think it comes down to I was too focused on the outcome and too focused on the goal, which is obviously great to have the goal of a gold medal, but I completely forgot about the processes that were going to get me there. And I guess the talent and my gut instincts that got me to the Paralympics in the first place.
Brilliant, brilliant. What got in your way and what did you have to overcome?
For Rio,
For your life, mate. I don't mind.
That's
Rio,
a very
it's all
generous
part of your
question.
life. It's just, what's really got in your way whenever you've done anything?
I've been quite lucky. Not too much has gotten in my way, but I've put myself in that position. I guess I'm very strong-willed if I have an idea in my mind. I guess just like Tesla has. Something amazing can come of it, and I think that's just innovation in a nutshell. It's funny, people see me as an elite athlete and a gold medalist and they think that I'm super into what I do and I'm really into training, and I am. I love swimming, but I'm probably the laziest athlete you'll ever meet. I am the only professional swimmer in Australia that only trains for 1 hour a day, and I think it's all about working smarter and not harder. So I've really had a look at my training program and designed a training program that suits me, and it's worked really well. I came home from Rio with a gold medal from doing about 70% less training than all the other athletes. So.
I haven't even been to Rio. Oh, by the way, I mean, it's not even on the questions, but you changed your style of training as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
completely different.
It's not just coming down to laziness. I actually had 2 shoulder reconstructions after the London Games. I forgot to mention that. And, it was a really interesting time. I was walking around for 3 to 6 months with my arms in a sling and a prosthetic leg. And people thought that I'd been in a skydiving accident or something. But it was just a swimming injury, and I can't train 6 hours a day in the pool like I used to. So I've had to redesign my entire training program. So like I said, I only swim an hour a day in the morning, and then I do 2 hours of rehabilitation work in the gym after that. And I've actually started gymnastics, which I wish was a Paralympic sport. It would probably be the funniest Paralympic sport ever. But I've just started gymnastics to work on core stability, flexibility, and shoulder strength, and also boxing, which pretty dangerous with these guns. But it's been really interesting as well because it's all about stability, which I'm not very good at through my hips, obviously.
Right. It's fascinating stuff. After the London Games, you've got the construction of your shoulders and all that. How do you, and then you were thinking of retiring as well, weren't you, at one time? So how do you turn yourself around to say, well, I'm going to go back and give it another shot? And the reason I ask this, and a lot of these questions is in business and in our own lives, but in business in particular, we have to do this. We have to sometimes give it another shot or have a mindset to go with the flow or change or adapt like you've just done. It's not being lazy, you've adapted.
Yeah.
Which is even cleverer, actually, than being lazy.
I like that word much better.
Yeah, well, you can tell me later if it was lazy, but for now, it's adaptation. But, how do you do that? How do you get up in the morning and go, okay, I'm going to give it another go now and give it another shot?
Yeah, well, you're completely right. I was going to retire after London. I didn't like the idea of not only learning basically to teach myself how to swim again, but try to get up to world standard in time for the Rio Games. And it was very difficult, but I think I woke up one morning and just said how many people have the opportunity that I have, and I really need to grab that by the horns and give it the best shot that I had. And it was all about adaptation, which you'll be amazed. If you see a Paralympic Village, you'll see how the athletes adapt to what they've been given. A Paralympic Village is by far my favourite place in the whole world. It's incredible. I remember being in Rio and there was a gentleman, he had no arms. He had actually had them ripped off by a tiger at a circus, strangely enough. So that's an interesting story. But he was cutting his steak with a knife and fork that he was holding in his feet and just eating like it was just a normal thing. And I guess it is for him because he's learnt to adapt to it. But I was just sitting across from him. I couldn't even eat. I was just too busy watching him. And then, anyway, we have a game centre, so I'm like, oh, this is my chance to finally beat somebody at Guitar Hero. So I invited him for a Guitar Hero challenge, and I still got beaten by a guy with no arms. So it's a very impressive environment to be in.
Excellent. How do you get yourself back then? After you've been at all that fun, it's a bit like going on a holiday in one sense, sounds like to me. After you've been at the camp, having fun with all your friends and partying and picking up a couple of medals along the way, how do you get back into being an elite athlete? And I use the word elite. How do you come away from that and go, it's like coming back off holiday, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how do you get back that? Because that's another challenge, because I presume you're going to go for another 4 years and give it another shot and add some more.
Yeah. Well, like I said, after the London Games, I had 2 years off, and returning back to the pool was so challenging that I'm already back in the pool again for Tokyo because I figured while you've still got that momentum and that desire to be the world's best, you might as well just go for it. And I think I've trained myself to the point now where I'm just going to wake up at 4 a.m. regardless, so I might as well get up and go to the pool. But, Tokyo's going to be my 4th Games. I'll be 29, which I know that sounds young for some of you, but that's very, very old for a swimmer. The average age of the swim team is only about 18, so it's an interesting environment to go away with, but not many athletes get to say that they went to 4 games, and that I always actually think about what I'm going to tell my grandkids when I'm older, that, good old grandma went to 4 Paralympics and she won a few medals. But actually, while I've got my medal in my hand, I wouldn't mind explaining these medals to you. They're one of the first, actually they are the first medal in the world to actually make a noise, so if you listen, you can hear it. Anyway, the reason behind this, the Olympic medals don't have this because Paralympics is cooler anyway. But there is actually a difference between the gold, silver and the bronze, and it's for the visually impaired athletes of the Games, so the athletes that can't see their medals. We have braille on them so they can read, but they can't actually tell if they're holding a gold, silver or a bronze. I don't have the gold with me, but the gold has more beads in it, silver has less, and then the bronze even less, so they actually sound different. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is very cool.
I'm really excited.
Did anybody
to see
know that? Was anybody aware of that?
You can. I'll do a gold and a bronze just for a big difference.
Right.
You want to hold still? You can put it on if you like.
No.
So,
again, I'm not good enough for that.
The gold sounds like that, and the bronze. It's very subtle, but you can come check it out a bit later.
You play a tune. Did they?
I guess we could if we wanted to.
Now, one other thing that I want to talk to you about is the future. Obviously, your future, the future of prosthetics. And for you personally, I believe you're looking at what I call a bionic leg.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I have always called it a bionic leg. The kids at primary school thought it was cooler if I called it that.
And it's called, I believe, the X3, if we can bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this leg.
Sure. I bet you've never been explained a leg before. So when I was a kid, obviously the government has to fund people prosthetic legs because we can't just be sitting in the street. So as a kid, I got government-funded prosthetics, and they're not very good. It's like walking on a door hinge. It's really terrible, actually. This one I have paid for, but it's a very cheap, basic knee unit. It actually was designed by the same guy who designed the atomic bomb, which is interesting. It's very old technology, but it's still the best technology you can have without computers. Now, Otto Bock are a company that work out of Germany, and they have actually designed a prosthetic knee that has computers in it and accelerometers and, I don't know very many technical terms, sorry, Tesla. But you can also charge it up, just like the car, and it will last for 5 days. It was actually designed for war veterans who actually even may possibly want to return back to war, and for them to be able to have the ability to do so. So it's waterproof and mud resistant. I feel like I'm selling you guys this. But it's very interesting the way it works. So
we can show the video if you like. Is that easier for you?
Okay, go for it.
We'll show the video. We'll show the video.
My name is Andrew Lurake, and ever since I was a kid, I've just had this need for adrenaline and speed. I wasn't going to let anything slow me down, not even a left leg amputation. I started out on a mini bike out in my front yard and probably never looked back from there. I thought I'd go to college for aviation. I ended up in Air Force ROTC at University of South Florida, and then went to pilot training from there. My job was flying the Vice President, First Lady, Secretary of Defense, all those high-level dignitaries, either in the United States or all over the world. So my initial injury happened on a motocross track where the throttle stuck wide open on me, launched me about 15 feet in the air. Ended up being a tibial plateau fracture on my left leg. And they repaired it with a couple plates and screws, and then got a staph infection in the hospital that they could not eradicate. I started doing research on amputations, and it was about the same time that the C-leg had hit the market in the US. It was about 6 weeks after my amputation I got fit and started walking. So I was in the C-leg for, I guess it's been right at 10 years before I got the X3, and the functionality it's incredible.
Who's praising
The
it now?
major thing is that it's waterproof. I could even jump in the shower now. I could never have done that before. There's so many added features as well. It now has 6 modes. Now for working out, it's totally different. My whole workout scheme has changed. Now I've got another mode where I use it for push-ups. Just click it with the remote, and then I'm jumping on the ground and I'm doing 20 push-ups. I started doing Tough Mudder type races last year, these obstacle courses in the mud, and it's a challenge. I just love a challenge. I like the adrenaline rush. It's just a quick snap of the remote, and I put it in bicycle mode, and then strap in, and then away I go. At this point, nothing slows me down. I live my life as active now, if not more, than I did when I had 2 biological legs. I wake up 5:45 in the morning, go put my leg on, and then from there, game on. I will do everything from getting on the roof, blowing leaves around the yard. I'll throw the jet ski in the water. I may go boating. I might go golfing. If I can throw some kind of helping somebody else out there in that day, then that's a perfect day.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's just say I'm very jealous of Andrew. Now, for those of you that don't have prosthetics, I said that like people do. I know none of you do. Obviously, the X3 is a very advanced knee, and like I said, this prosthetic knee that I have now, the technology is so old, but I've realized that as soon as they started introducing computers to the market, it has improved so quickly. And I think in 3 or 4 years' time, that's going to be very old technology. I've read that they've just started 3D printing prosthetics, and the robotics are becoming more simple, but more advanced, but easy to get your hands on. So I'm really excited to see what the future of prosthetics is going to hold, because, well, for somebody like me who's young and obviously energetic and wants to get out and do those things, I haven't been able to, so it's really going to completely change the entire life of somebody who does need a prosthetic. It's
Excellent.
very interesting.
There was, yes.
I think those cost more than a Tesla, so I've
Yeah.
got to choose one or the
I think they're
other.
about 139,000, and you're trying to get one, aren't you?
Yeah, well,
Okay. No, that's all right. Oh, you have to let these people out here know. You never know who's out there. You never know.
a Tesla or an X3?
Well, you can have the Tesla and the Leaf. 2. Both.
Sounds good.
You can charge the 2 at the same time as well, couldn't you? You can charge one and
myself
charge
up
the
to
other
the
one.
power pack over
Yeah,
there.
you can charge it off the car and then get it. Anyway, when I met you though, you said something to me that which brings this all down to a different level. But I've got to say it. Something about walking down a hill.
Oh,
Remember
that's right. Well, I was telling John about the things that you really take for granted, and I was explaining the X3 to him and the technology that is in that prosthetic. And this is the first prosthetic leg that I've had where I've been able to walk down a hill. I remember so many memories of me being in primary school, and my friends would run straight ahead, go down the hill as fast as they could. And I'd kind of have to stand up the top and just be like, hold on. And I'd have to sidestep down really slowly. And I put this knee on about 4 years ago, I got it. And I walked down a hill for the first time, and it was a hill that was only about that big. Anyway, I brought my mum along with me because she was really excited. And I got to the bottom of the hill and just started crying. And she said, are you upset or something? And I said, no, I'm just really happy that I've been able to walk down a hill for the first time. And she said, I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of how special it is just to be able to do something like walking down a hill. And then when I saw that video and all the things that he's doing, I think I'll be beside myself after getting one of those.
Well, you nearly made me cry then as well, and you nearly made me cry in my office as well.
Well, you did
So
say you
I
are a
won't.
father.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's right, yeah. But I'd just like to thank you for coming, and it's been a privilege to talk to you. Thanks very much, and ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Cole.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll thank you. There you go.
I'll hand them around.
This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Just before I wrap up and thank all the great presenters, I was asked earlier on why I did start Pendragon in the first place, and basically it was over 18 years ago. One of the guys who was one of the first people I actually helped out was due to come here tonight. I don't think he's in the room now, but his brother is, I know. And what it was, I had a few contractors come to me and they said to me they just weren't comfortable with the way they were being looked after. They weren't comfortable with the way they were being managed, or they felt stifled. And I said, I didn't quite understand what it was all about, but they told me about it. One or two were on 457 visas, and they felt that the visa itself, the visa was like someone holding their throat. And they said, look, they're really controlled. So I went down to immigration and I said, look, how do you take over a visa? What do you do? And they told me. And I then discussed with them how they would like to be looked after going forward, how they would like to have more freedom and control of their financial destiny, and how I could help them become, and with the 457 guys, how I could help them even become permanent residents here, because what they were putting into the country was fantastic. And voila, that's how Pendragon was formed. And it's mainly here to help assist people in whatever we can, so they enjoy the work and not worry about all the peripheral stuff around the edges. It's mainly so they can get on with their lives and enjoy it and don't feel that they're held back by any way. So I'd like to thank Will. Where's Will? Will's over here. Thanks, Will. Craig. Yeah, sorry. A rather large round of applause for Craig. Thank you. Obviously, Ellie. Fantastic. Thank you. That's about it for me. Thanks to Tesla for using this space. It's phenomenal, and thank you very much. And most of all, thank you all for turning up. I hope you got some kind of insight into the new world of work, and also some other exciting stuff that we threw in, because it's all the new world that we're living in. Now, we are all sticking around, so if you want to come up to any of us to have a chat, by all means do. Thanks very much for coming, and good night.